Welcome to the end of day review for Wednesday, the 29th of November 2023. Starting off with the economic calendar, as you can see, there was sort of a drip feed of CPI news across Europe, and that led me to not trading the Euro USD pair during the London session, with my focus purely being on GBP USD for the London session. However, then coming into the New York session, I was ready to trade both EU and GU. However, there was this red folder preliminary GDP news for the US market. Given the high impact significance of GDP with relation to inflation, um, if I had any London-based trades open, I would have closed those and then I'd look to fade the news subsequently. In terms of the direction that the news um, releases suggested for the New York session, both Euro USD and GBP USD would be anticipated to move downwards. Um, More so Euro USD because you've got Euro news that was negative for the Euro and then US news that was positive for the USD, with both factors essentially compounding to suggest that the Euro should move to the downside. Um, I'll jump into the chart starting with Euro USD. Starting on the daily, as we are in this ERL continuation momentum phase, the idea or the suggested direction for the day is, of course, to continue with the momentum and then target the next daily high. However, what we cannot discount is the fact that we just recently took out a validated 4-hour swing high, and as a result, a pullback should be expected um, because of the liquidity being taken here. Because of this fact and the reasons that support the reversal scenario, one of them, or one of the significant ones, being that from day 4 onwards we should anticipate a reversal. In this case, we've got day 5. Today would have been day 5 of a bullish candle, which is highly unlikely, and as a result of this, we anticipate for the day to close bearish, which it looks like it will do so. Um, with regards to the reversal scenario, as you can see, there's no daily fair value gaps. So our next best option is to target the nearest confirmed or validated 4H pro-trend OB, which in this case, OB or window of imbalance, which in this case would be this 4H OB. Moving on to the 15-minute, what we can then essentially see is the high of the day was created in Asia, and from then onwards we created this nice 15-minute supply chain. However, given that we couldn't trade during the London session, our next option was to trade during the New York session open. However, we did have this London range and we required one side of the range to be liquidated prior to um, prior to uh, prior to the entry. However, what you can see is once the London range was liquidated, we came back, tapped a 50% level, and then continued to push to the downside, with this being the target. I didn't take this trade because um, I wasn't. I had an option between trading both GU and EU. Although EU was fairly clean in terms of the setup, the stop loss size requirements is quite large relative to the daily range, and given how close this was, the risk reward was 1 to 2, whereas on GBP USD the RR was a bit more favorable, so I favored that over this. Um, And yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just a matter of picking the pair that you find the cleanest. But maybe I should have factored in into consideration the fact that the news is extra confluence to suggest that we should go to the downside. Anyway, I didn't take this trade, and We don't really know if this target will be hit. Either way, it doesn't matter at this point. What I'll now do is touch on GBPUSD because GBPUSD was valid to trade both from the London and the New York session. So again, starting from the daily, because we are significantly in ERL continuation momentum um, situation, what you can see is we were targeting this daily structural liquidity. However, again, there is reason or rationale for a reversal, being that today was potentially the fifth bullish day, which is highly improbable unless the reversal made sense. In terms of a target, we got a nice fair value cap on the daily that we could target right here. Um, but as a secondary target, of course, we could use something clear on the 4 hour, which is this range for HOB right here. In terms of um, the directions I could trade. So, like I said, in a momentum scenario like this, we have reasons to both long and short. There was this nice 30-minute demand chain, potentially providing support for a new low of the day. However, what you can then see is none of the FOB levels, especially the 38.6 level, which I generally like, for that to align with my POI for a London-based entry, didn't align. However, even though that was the case, it didn't negate the fact that this is a new low of the day. Going or building on from there, essentially once London open, we were waiting for, sorry, once Frankfurt open, we were waiting for the Asian range to be taken. You can see we broke the pre-Asia low of the day. We created a new low of the day. On the 5 minute, there was a change of character, but no confirmed order flow. 5 minute hit confirmed order flow. The 15-minute was still in the process of confirming because this was the 15-minute change of character. And then subsequently, as we progressed to London, you can see the 15-minute order flow was validated. Um, as we moved into the London lull, I felt that at this point it was, too close to the GDP news release, and thus I paused trading until after the news release. Um, Once news was released, what you can then see is that we were anticipating GU to go down, which was confirmation for taking this trade. However, my my entry requirements require that one side of the range be liquidated prior to entry. So I set my entry here, assuming that the range will be liquidated there, and then we'll run to the other side. However, that didn't materialize, so this trade didn't play out. And then we took this London range where there's still being space in terms of ADR and the nearest for HOB for target purposes. Um, but essentially at this point in time, it was a bit too late in the day because this candle came in. Maybe what I should do is just mark this out as well. So essentially, this candle came in and just missed the 50%, which is where I would have entered. That wasn't tagged, and then as you can see at the end of my trading session, price pushed down, and really I'm not willing to enter any more trades after the end of my trading session. So that brings me to the end of the day. What I will do next is just touch on the 5 minute. So on the 5 minute, you can see we had this London low of the day, which was supported by this primary leg, and then we had order flow validated here. However, we couldn't trade this because we were already in the London lull at this point, and we were too close to the GDP release news. So, as I said, I don't have open positions on significant news events such as GDP, inflation, and NFP, and interest rates as well. So that um, this entry wouldn't have materialized anyway. And then, like I said, in the morning we had this nice chain, but unfortunately, um, the extreme to the high of the day didn't um would have meant I would have taken an entry right around here. Price didn't quite get there, it got to the 50%, but in the London session I prefer for price to come to the 38.6 at a minimum, and then in the New York I'm more accepting of a 50% level, because New York is, it tends to be when the momentum kicks in and doesn't retrace as far. Um, that essentially brings me to the end of my end of day review. I will overlay some fresh markups for GBPUSD and EURUSD into this video slightly later. I'm having some trouble with trading views, so I don't want to waste time doing the markups now. I'll I'll do it a bit later once things are finalized. Well, things are working better on TradingView. Other than that, have a good evening, and then we'll chat again for the London outlook tomorrow.